Imagine waking up in a major city, millions of people around you, skyscrapers in every direction, and you turn on the faucet, but nothing comes out, not a drop. For hundreds of millions of people around the world, this future isn't science fiction. It's approaching faster than anyone expected. Across the planet, a small number of countries are now facing water shortages so severe that entire regions are preparing for the moment the taps could run dry. Aquifers are collapsing, rivers are disappearing, and governments are quietly admitting that day zero is no longer a warning. It's a timeline. I'm Dennis Lesak, and this is Tomorrow Explained. Today, we're counting down 5 countries closest to a full-scale water collapse, and what happens when water scarcity stops being a crisis and becomes daily life. We're starting with a country few people expect to see on this list, the United States. More than 40 million Americans depend on a single river system, the Colorado River, and that system is failing. Lake Mead and Lake Powell, the 2 largest reservoirs in the country, are now at their lowest levels since they were first filled. Entire farming regions in Arizona and California are being shut down. Hydropower production is declining. Cities like Las Vegas are preparing for permanent water rationing. The most dangerous part isn't drought alone, it's over-allocation. For decades, the Colorado River has been promised to more people than it can realistically support. Climate change didn't create this crisis, it exposed it. And once reservoirs fall below critical thresholds, recovery becomes nearly impossible. Next is South Africa. In 2018, Cape Town nearly became the first major city in modern history to turn off its taps completely. Officials publicly announced a day zero, the moment when households would be cut off from running water. The city avoided catastrophe through emergency rationing, but the underlying problem never disappeared. Rainfall across southern Africa is becoming more erratic. Infrastructure is aging, and inequality has turned water access into a social fault line. While wealthy neighborhoods drill private wells, poorer communities face intermittent supply. Other cities, including Johannesburg and Durban, are now approaching similar conditions. Cape Town wasn't an anomaly, it was a warning. Third on the list is China. Northern China is drying out at an extraordinary pace. The North China Plain, the region that feeds hundreds of millions of people, has been pumping groundwater faster than it can naturally recharge for decades. Entire cities, including Beijing, are sinking as aquifers collapse beneath them. At the same time, major rivers like the Yangtze have experienced historic droughts, forcing factories to shut down and hydroelectric dams to reduce output. China has responded with massive engineering projects, including diverting rivers from the south to the north. But even these systems are struggling to keep up with demand. When China faces water shortages, the effects ripple through the entire global economy. Next is India. India is experiencing the largest groundwater collapse in human history. More than 20 major cities are projected to face severe water shortages within the next decade. In some regions, wells that once supplied entire villages now pump nothing but air. Nearly 90% of India's water use comes from groundwater, much of it extracted illegally or without regulation. Climate change is disrupting monsoon patterns, while population growth continues to surge. The result is a slow-motion crisis affecting hundreds of millions of people and threatening global food supplies, since India is one of the world's largest agricultural producers. And finally, the most alarming case on this list, Iran, specifically Tehran. Tehran is a megacity of roughly 9 million people, and officials have now publicly warned that the city may face a day when no water flows from the taps at all. Reservoirs supplying the capital are at historic lows. Snowpack in nearby mountains has declined sharply, and decades of groundwater over-extraction have left aquifers dangerously depleted. Parts of Iran have already experienced water shutdowns, tanker deliveries, and protests. Tehran is next. A capital city running out of water isn't just an environmental issue, it's a political, economic, and humanitarian shock with regional consequences. What connects all 5 of these countries isn't geography, wealth, or politics. It's time. Water infrastructure takes decades to build. Aquifers take centuries to recover. And climate pressure is accelerating faster than governments can adapt. Once a system crosses certain thresholds, collapse becomes extremely difficult to reverse. The uncomfortable truth is that water scarcity doesn't announce itself with a single disaster. It arrives quietly, reservoir by reservoir, well by well, until one day the taps simply stop working. The question isn't whether more countries will join this list, it's whether they adapt fast enough to avoid it. If you want clearer, deeper stories about the systems shaping our future, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.